Hi all, let's get started using the FreeRouter in KiCad. So first things first, here's a small PCB that I created as part of a tutorial. If you notice the version of KiCad that I'm using, I am using the nightly build, which I've installed recently. It is version 5.0.0, so you need to go get the nightly build, go to the KiCad website and see how to install it for your system, whether it's Mac, Linux, or Windows. I'm using Linux, Ubuntu 14.04 here. Alright, so inside PCB New, where you can work on your PCB, you'll see this little icon right here. It says fast access to the FreeRoute external advanced router. Click that. You'll see the middle button is grayed out. If you hover over the middle button, however, it says FreeRouter can be run only if freeroute.jar is found in KiCad binaries folder. So we need freeroute.jar. Why doesn't that come with KiCad? I have no idea. I think that's kind of silly, but it doesn't. So KiCad binaries folder for me is located in user/bin, and there is KiCad right there. User/bin is a system file, so we're going to have to use the terminal to copy anything into that location, but I need to copy an executable into there. Next, where do we get that freeroute.jar file? So I have a little document here with this link. So go ahead and navigate to this link, freerouting.org, blah, blah, blah. Using with KiCad requirements. To run, etc., etc. The easiest way to install the FreeRouting executable is to install the layout editor package. It includes a compiled, ready-to-use FreeRouting in the bin folder of the layout editor package. To start the FreeRouting application, just press on the freerouting.jar file. So we need the layout editor package like it says. Click there. Come here, download, look for the executable that pertains to your system. I'm using Linux 14.04 Ubuntu, and I've got a 64-bit, so I downloaded this one. So the place where I saved it is over here under my folder that I called FreeRouting, and I saved it right there. In Linux, if you right-click that compressed.deb file and go to extract here, it'll take on my computer 10 or 20 seconds, on yours maybe a minute, and then it opens up right here, or it extracts right here. So inside of here, I navigate to opt, layout, bin, freerouting.jar. That is the file of interest. However, we need to copy this file into the location where KiCad executable is found, while also renaming it slightly, because if you notice here, it says that it needs to be named freeroute.jar, not freerouting.jar. So copy that over while renaming it into your KiCad bin location. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So sudo cp, and I'm copying this guy. And again, this whole terminal thing, just do whatever's required for your system. This is what's required for Linux. So I'm going to copy from there to user/bin/freeroute.jar. I believe that is correct. Let's check one more time. freeroute.jar. Alright, so I do that, and now when I check here, it has magically shown up right there. Previously that was not present. So now that that is present, I can come here. Now let's say that I want to use the Autorouter, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. You can click there and you'll see that this is no longer grayed out, it's now functional. So imagine that this board was not routed. There it is. All you have is the rat's nest. It's not routed. So I click there, and now it has already opened up that Java jar file, and it says, where do you want to save this stuff? So in my project file, or project folder, I created another folder called FreeRoute. Let's go ahead and delete these items so that I can start back with scratch. So in my KiCad, I've got projects. Let's just go ahead and show this from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. I'll call it freeroute2. Inside there, I will save it, and that's fine. So I save. Now it's loading. Here is the freeroute tool. I click routing, auto routing, boom, done. All magical. It magically routed all of my tracks. Looks awesome. Save. Export spectra session file. Yes. And now it has also created this .ses file. We need to import that back into KiCad. It's as simple as clicking back import the spectra session file, choosing it, saying open, and voila, there it is. It just imported the auto route right in there. So boom, done. It works awesome. Let's do a little bit more complicated of a board. Let's go ahead and close this. All right, so back here, let's get rid of this. I'm not going to save in this case. All right, so let's go ahead and download a demo from KiCad. So the demo is going to be located, let's see here, right here. Go to this location, GitHub, KiCad, blah, 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 KiCad source mirror. And inside here, there's a demo folder. So on GitHub, click your clone or download button, download zip, save it. I'm actually not going to do that because I already did. So I go to the location where I saved it, and that is right here for me. I renamed it slightly with some date and time information just for my use. And then again, right-click, extract here. That created this. Inside here, I've got demos, and I like this pick programmer one for just using a demo for showing the free routing. So let's go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to stick my initials at the end. We'll call it 2 since I've already done this once before. Now back in KiCad, we're going to open that up. I've got a symlink to it here, so we'll go there. There it is. Pick programmer GS2. And we're going to open up that project and the PCB. Here's the PCB. Imagine you wanted this auto-routed because you don't want to spend a bunch of time routing all these traces individually. So let's remove the tracks to show how the auto-router works. There it is. Now all we have is the rat's nest. Same thing, click here. Now that we've got the free router installed, which is awesome, super handy. And inside here, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it freerouter. Call it whatever you want. That sounds good. Save, and here it goes. It's now loaded it in the FreeRouter tool. We click routing, auto routing. It magically routes those traces. That was beautiful. And we can now save it, export it. Before I export it though, I'm just going to show that the session file or the .ses file is not yet created. So there it is. All you have is bin and DSN. Now, when we export the spectra session file, there it is, .ses. Perfect. That's exactly what we need. We can now quit this and back in here, back import the spectra session file. There it is. Watch this. Oh, there's an issue. All right. Let's try it again. There's a bug that I've noticed that pops up periodically, so I'm going to try to redo this. So let's delete all that stuff and try again. So save, it's opening, we're going to route it. Now, I don't know what the deal is, but I think the bug requires you to basically just click on the screen. So if I just click around and select something like that, I think that fixed the bug. Now we can save it, export the session file. There we go, this is working. Yep, so simply by clicking on the screen and selecting something like I did, it seems to have fixed that minor little bug. Save also the rules created in this for later reuse. Sounds good, yes. And now we should have that spectra session file and the rules file. Close that. come back in here, you have your rat's nest, back import the routed.scs file, and voila, magical. Close that, it's all routed. Awesome. Now let's just check it and make sure it's actually functional. This is what the fill looks like. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's up to date by selecting the border of the fill, right-clicking, going to zones, fill all to fill any zones. There we go. Now it readed the fill because the previous fill was from the last routing job, which was done manually by the people. And you can see there's a couple lines here, a couple rat's nest lines. That means we have a couple things not connected. They're probably ground pieces. So I click that to kind of hide the fill. And here we go. You can see some stuff not connected there. If we run the design rules check right here, you'll see a couple issues. First issue is, it jumped to it. So let's go ahead and zoom in, click a different one, click back just to make it jump to it. Right there. That little arrow indicates that there's a problem, and it says blah 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 1 equals greater is on composant. That's French for components, so this is a French file apparently. I speak a little French. You have composant, cuivre. Composant is the component layer on the top, copper, and cuivre for whatever reason. That means copper, but that's the bottom copper layer. So let's just go ahead and show how you can edit these real quick, just for the heck of it. So setup, layers setup, and I think that's a little confusing, so we're going to call it f.cu composant, and that stands for front copper, and then we have back.cu, and f.cu and b.cu, that's front copper and back copper. Those are pretty standard names. Click OK. Now it's renamed. Now to solve this one, I think the actual problem is that this guy is too close to that trace, so it's violating the design rules gap specifications. So I'm going to hit the M key to move. Just move that down a touch, and I think that'll fix that. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and rerun this. Perfect. The problem is fixed. No longer a problem. Unconnected, however, there's 6 items unconnected. If you zoom in on the board and start clicking them, it'll jump around to show them. So each one of these, you'll notice, is ground. That's ground, 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 ground. So all that means is that we have some floating ground layers. This one is not ground. That looks like a VCC pick. Anyway, so most of them are ground except for this one. To solve this, we're just going to grab the router, and we're going to manually run a couple traces. We're on the wrong side of the board, so I hit the page down key. You'll notice that little arrow right there will change. So page down. There it is. Now we're on the top side of the board, and boom, solved that problem. Now as far as cleanup goes from the Autorouter, you can look at your traces, and if you see any things where you don't like right there, 90-degree edge, I don't like that, hit the D key, drag it over. Boom. You can do any cleanup from the Autorouter that you like. I'm really not too concerned about it overall. Autorouter does a pretty good job in my opinion, and I certainly think it's handy. In either case, let's clean up these grounds. So let's go ahead and show the fill and look at just the bottom. So hide all layers except the bottom. Now we can get a better idea for what's happening here. So it appears that this is a floating pad, and this is a floating pad unconnected. See, it's kind of like a stranded island here. So let's connect it out. So let's go ahead and look at this layer too, and make that disappear a little bit. We're just going to drop a via. So I drop a via right there, and now it jumped the rat's nest over to say, let me show you that one more time. I'm going to delete that. Anyway, if you drop a via there, it says, oh, now this is the closest component that we can use to solve the problem. I'm going to draw it on the front layer. Solved. Now this guy here, same thing. I can run it over to that same via, and that solved the link from there to there. Now, this one here, it looks like we are a bit stranded. If you look at the fill again, you can see those do indeed connect through. That does indeed connect through, but we got some stranded segments. So let's drop a couple more vias that we can use to connect everything. So let's drop one right there, and right there, just to demonstrate this. So let's go ahead and run this on the front layer, which is fcopper composant, and we can run one. Oops. Oh, that's not ground. Let's undo that. Alright, that's ground. Okay, and that should have solved possibly nothing, actually. Let's see here. What do we got? Alright, I need to run something over here, so let's drop a via there. Drop one right there, and route the front layer. And now we seem to be missing this guy over here. Alright. So actually I don't need that guy, because you can see this ground connects through this ground fill up to there, so we can delete that one. And we can instead drop a couple right there. And now that's the connected one, or the rat's nest that needs to be connected. Drop it over. Alright, perfect. Now let's run the design rules check one more time. Oh, yep, we need to refill. Awesome. Says there's a couple problems. Via inside a text. That is true. So let's just move that little guy and draw that over. Okay. And this actually is on the copper layer, so let's just move it over out of the way. You can see it's on the copper layer. If I hit the E key, it says right there it's on the front copper layer. So it will interfere with this line here. Let's check our design rules now, see if we got any other problems. That's it. No problems. Nothing unconnected. The board is ready. Generate your Gerbers. Have fun. Go make this board. And that was a nice demonstration of how to use the Autorouter, and you see how awesomely fast that is. And here we have a completed board. Beautiful. All right. Now, keep in mind, if you want to manually route, they have a really nice push-shove router, and you can modify its settings through the interactive router settings here. You can do specify walk around, shove, highlight collisions, jump over obstacles, high optimizer effort, I like. So anyway, super nice. You can redo traces, and it'll automatically reroute them according to your desires. You can hit the D key to drag segments around if you want to reshape stuff. Just make sure your grid is set to something that gives you the resolution that you like. You can fix any corners that you don't like in case the Autorouter does anything funky, like that right there. I hit the D key right there, and you can drag that out. Perfect. Made that nice and smooth. Same thing there. Just hit the D key, and the auto router, or the manual push shove router, is awesome. And that ends my demonstration. So we've now learned how to use the Autorouter to make this no longer grayed out by getting the necessary freeroute.jar file, which was precompiled for your operating system, simply by knowing where to look using the layout editor downloads that we found from freerouting.org. So anyway, that is all. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.